Welcome. We're doing a deep dive today into, a really fascinating and very, very public dynamic that, according to the articles we're looking at, just kind of imploded quite dramatically.
Yeah, it really did. We've got a whole set of sources here, mostly news articles, and they're detailing this very recent, very public falling out between Elon Musk and Donald Trump. Two huge figures.
Absolutely. So our mission here is to unpack the specifics, right? What exactly happened in this back and forth, according to these sources? What triggered it?
Exactly. And look at all the angles, policy stuff, personal history, even, talk about government contracts. It's all in there.
It really is unfolding in real time almost. So these sources give us a great window. Okay, let's get into it. Based on the reporting, where did this whole thing kick off? What was the spark?
Well, the sources seem to agree it really heated up on a specific Thursday. Seems to have started with comments Trump made.
Right. In the Oval Office, the reports say he was criticizing Musk, and they link it directly to Musk not liking Trump's proposed tax bill because of the electric vehicle credits potentially getting phased out.
That's the connection the reporting draws, yeah. The idea being it could hit Tesla's bottom line.
And there's a direct quote the sources picked up.
There is. Trump apparently said, look, Elon and I had a great relationship. I don't know if we will anymore.
Wow. Okay. So that's pretty public. That's the moment the sources identify as the sort of public break.
Seems like it. That comment really put it out there based on these articles.
Okay. So then Musk responds, and the reporting suggests he didn't exactly take it lying down.
No, not at all. He apparently went straight to X, his platform, and slammed the tax bill. Called it the big, beautiful bill. Kind of borrowing Trump's phrase there.
Right, using Trump's own branding almost.
Exactly. And just tore into the cost, told Congress to ditch the mountain of disgusting pork.
So it wasn't just about the EV credits for him, based on that.
Seems broader, yeah. The sources indicate he was hitting the whole spending package.
And then there was the part about whether Musk had seen drafts of the bill. Trump claimed he had.
Right, and Musk, according to the sources, flat out denied it on X. Basically calling Trump's account inaccurate.
Okay, so denying the facts as Trump presented them, and then it got personal.
Oh, yeah. Very personal, very quickly. The articles highlight Musk claiming credit for Trump's second term.
Wait, how did he phrase that?
He wrote, without me, Trump would have lost the election, Dems would control the House, and the Republicans would be 51-49 in the Senate.
That is a bold claim. A massive claim of influence.
Huge. And then he followed up with just such ingratitude.
Oof. Okay. The sources really paint this as a major escalation, moving beyond policy.
Definitely raising the personal stakes, as the reports frame it.
So Musk is really going after him on X. How did Trump fire back at this? According to the reporting, did he stay on camera?
No. The sources say he moved off camera, went to his own platform, Truth Social. And that's where he suggested the easiest way to save money is to, quote, terminate Elon's governmental subsidies and contracts.
Whoa. Okay, so that's a direct threat to Musk's businesses. SpaceX, potentially others?
That's the clear implication, yeah. A major lever to pull.
And didn't he add something about Biden?
He did. The sources highlight this line where Trump said he was surprised President Biden hadn't already done it.
That's quite something. Using the power of potential government action in a personal fight. So how did Musk take that threat, the contract threat specifically?
Well, his first reaction, as reported, was pretty defiant. He posted that famous Clint Eastwood line, "Go ahead, make my day."
Okay. Tough talk. Pretty standard for online sparring, maybe.
Maybe. But then came something really dramatic, according to the sources. A follow-up post.
What was that?
Musk announced that because of the talk about canceling contracts, SpaceX would begin decommissioning its Dragon spacecraft immediately.
Decommissioning Dragon. Hold on, that's huge, isn't it?
Yeah.
Given its role with the ISS and everything, that sounds like a massive operational decision.
It does. And the sources definitely portrayed it as such, announced right in the middle of this fight. Seemed directly linked to government contracts.
But the story didn't end there, right? The reporting noted a pretty surprising reversal just, a few hours later?
Yeah, an almost immediate U-turn. The sources point to this specific interaction on X. A user posted something like, "This back and forth is a shame. You're both better than this. Cool off."
Like just advice from a random user.
Seems so.
Yeah.
And Musk replied directly to that user saying, "Good advice. Okay, we won't decommission Dragon."
That is just remarkable. A major operational announcement, seemingly made in anger or under pressure, walked back within hours because of a comment on social media.
It really underscores how volatile these public spats can be and how quickly things can pivot on platforms like X. Really unpredictable.
Absolutely. Okay, so beyond those direct clashes over the bill and the contracts, the sources say Musk was pretty active elsewhere online during this time.
Oh, definitely. He was posting a lot. The sources mentioned a poll he put up asking if it was time to create a new political party in America that actually represents the 80% in the middle.
Interesting. And didn't Mark Cuban jump in on that?
Yeah, the reporting notes Cuban, who often criticizes Trump, endorsed the idea.
And things got personal in other ways, too, not just between Musk and Trump.
Seems so. The sources mentioned Ashley St. Clair, identified in the reporting as the mother of one of Musk's kids, posting what was described as breakup advice for Trump on X.
Wow. Okay.
And Musk also apparently reshared someone else's post, something asking, President versus Elon, who wins? My money's on Elon. Trump should be impeached and J.D. Vance should replace him. And Musk replied to that post with just, yes.
So he was really amplifying anti-Trump sentiment and even impeachment talk during this period. He was throwing a lot out there.
He was. And the sources also mentioned him sharing this collage of old Trump posts about balancing the budget.
Right, from the past.
Yeah, and Musk asked, where is this guy today? The sources read that as Musk trying to point out, hypocrisy or inconsistency in Trump's fiscal stance now versus then.
And with all this drama playing out online, did the sources mention any real-world impact, like on the markets?
They did. Specifically, the reporting highlights that Tesla's stock took a pretty sharp hit that Thursday, right in the midst of all this.
Really?
Yeah, its market cap apparently dipped below $1 trillion that afternoon. So the sources suggest investors were definitely paying attention and reacting to this public fight.
Okay, understandable. But then the sources point to perhaps the most unexpected and maybe explosive turn in this whole thing, what some called the really big bomb. Musk brought Jeffrey Epstein into it.
That's right. A major escalation, according to the reports. Musk posted, targeting Trump directly. At Real Trump is in the Epstein files. That is the real reason they have not been made public. Have a nice day, DJT.
Wow. And he added something else, too.
Yeah, he told followers to mark this post for the future. The truth will come out.
And the sources provide some background on Trump and Epstein's connection, just for context.
They do. The reporting reminds readers about the known past association. Photos, videos together, Trump appearing on flight logs for Epstein's plane.
Right. That's been reported before.
And the sources also mention analysis, like from Business Insider earlier this year, finding Trump was named as one of the does in those unsealed Epstein-related court documents.
So there's a documented history there. How do the sources describe Trump's own past comments on Epstein?
The reports quote Trump from back in 2019, saying they had a falling out a long time ago, hadn't spoken in maybe 15 years or more. And he explicitly said, I wasn't a big fan of Jeffrey Epstein.
So Musk bringing that up, that specific history, in the middle of this fight about tax bills and contracts, how do the sources frame that move?
They frame it as going nuclear, essentially, moving way beyond policy or recent disagreements into this really sensitive, highly scrutinized area of past associations.
Yeah.
It suggests, a willingness to use potentially very damaging personal stuff in the fight.
It really is something, especially when you contrast it with how things apparently used to be between them. The sources talk about a time not long ago that some called a bromance, right?
Exactly. A whirlwind bromance is how some reporting put it.
Yeah.
And the articles detail examples of that closeness.
Like what?
Well, the sources mention Musk being a huge financial backer, over $277 million spent supporting Trump and Republicans just in 2024.
Wow. Okay. That's significant backing.
And there were these public moments, too, like Musk apparently parading his young son around the White House, and Musk being described as the public face of the White House DOGE office, whatever that means, likely related to crypto talks.
Right. Sort of an informal advisory role, maybe. And wasn't there some kind of public ceremony, a gift?
Yeah. The sources recall Trump giving Musk a gigantic golden key during a press conference. The reporting called the event near saccharine, really highlighting that public display of mutual admiration they had.
So you have that whole history laid out in the sources, the money, the access, the public praise. But the reporting also hints that maybe things weren't quite so solid just before this big blow-up. Cracks were showing.
That's what the sources suggest, yeah. They note Musk had already voiced some doubts about Trump's tax bill before this latest fight.
Ah, okay. So it wasn't totally out of the blue for him to dislike it.
Potentially not. And the reporting also mentions Musk saying more recently he planned to do a lot less political spending. That could be read as him pulling back a bit, even before this explosion.
Interesting. And the sources also included a comment from Trump about the timing, defending his bill.
Uh-huh. He's quoted saying something like, "I don't mind Elon turning against me, but he should have done so months ago."
Which kind of implies Trump maybe sensed some dissent brewing, even if the public break felt sudden.
That's one way to interpret it, based on the source material.
Okay, so we've really walked through the sequence here as laid out in these articles, from that initial jab about the tax bill
To the really personal attacks flying back and forth on social media.
the whole drama with the Dragon spacecraft threat and the quick reversal,
Musk bringing up the Epstein connection, which was a real escalation.
and then remembering the context of their fairly recent bromance. It's quite a story that the sources piece together.
It really is. It's a fascinating case study drawn from these reports of how quickly these high-profile relationships can just disintegrate in the public eye. Played out on X, Truth Social. Very modern.
Yeah, touching on business, politics, personal history, everything.
All tangled together.
So thinking about everything we've unpacked from the sources, the history they described, this incredibly public fight on social media, the mix of policy and deeply personal jabs, bringing up things like Epstein, threatening contracts. What does this whole episode really tell you about how relationships between these kinds of powerful figures work or maybe don't work today? It certainly gives you a lot to chew on based on this reporting, doesn't it?